South Dakota rental laws outline the rules in the state regarding lease agreements and evictions. We'll examine relevant laws for standard lease agreements, month-to-month lease agreements, and evictions. Standard lease agreement. A standard lease gives an overview of the terms between a landlord and tenant for the renting of property. A standard lease is commonly a one-year fixed period and is the most widely used rental contract. Month-to-month lease. A month-to-month lease, also called a tenancy at will, is an agreement between a landlord and tenant that renews automatically every month and terminates upon notice by either party. In South Dakota, notice must be provided by the tenant a minimum of 15 days prior to termination. The landlord must give notice to the tenant a minimum of 30 days prior to termination. Required disclosures. In South Dakota, the following disclosure is required to be included as part of the lease. Methamphetamine. If the landlord is aware that the residence was ever used for the manufacturing of methamphetamine, the tenant must be informed. Landlord access. In South Dakota, the landlord is not required to give notice before entering their property for repairs or other non-emergency reasons. Security deposit laws. In South Dakota, the maximum amount landlords can charge for security is 1 month's rent, unless the landlord can prove the tenant poses an added danger to the property. The money must be returned to the tenant within 14 days of terminating the lease, and tenants have the right to request an itemized list of deductions within 45 days of terminating the lease. Eviction laws. There are 2 legally accepted causes for eviction in South Dakota. Non-payment of rent. If the tenant is late on rent, the landlord can issue a 3-day notice to pay or quit. This gives the tenant 3 days to pay the rent in full along with any penalties, or vacate the property. If they do neither, the landlord may be forced to seek an eviction from the court. Non-compliance. If the tenant breaks any portion of the lease other than late rent, the landlord may give the tenant reasonable time to comply with the lease or vacate the property.